Definitely chilly this morning. Seasons of change in. What day is it today? I don't even know what the date is. Is it the 3rd today? I think September 3rd. It's Friday. We're leaving in a few hours to head out to the boat, get all the gear ready to go in the fishing derby for the weekend. It's funny, the lack of fish right now is starting to show up in the yard. Now the bears are roaming around the neighborhood. There's nothing down here. Remember how many birds were in the river behind me earlier in videos? Well, there's no birds now. And I heard one of our chickens. We have a bunch of laying hens that are about this big. They're almost full grown. And the other little yellow ones we got in another pen are for meat. And you could hear this loud yowl. Wow, wow. From a chicken, and we're looking at each other having coffee. So we're running out there, and 2 ravens had pinned a chicken. We're trying to make a chicken breakfast out of it. They saved that in the nick of time. It just goes to show that the natural predator animals around here get a little impatient. They're looking for more of those easier meals inside of the river. Then they're not down the river, so they're up at our house and other houses, rural properties, trying to find something to eat. But anyway, I'm going to get right to this. First off, we had a lot of replies back to the law enforcement. Where I asked the question, what would it take? What's the line drawn? The majority of the law enforcement that answered to replies were American. I don't think any Canadians. But I think our RCMP is just a little bit different flavor than... I've spent a lot of time in the US, a lot. And it is definitely a different country than Canada. Our law enforcement here on average seems to be more of the mindset of them and us when it comes to the police than the general public. It's frustrating. I don't know why. Is it something to do with the training? Possibly. I don't know. It's really odd. I don't know how many times I've had an officer come up to me in a check stop or whatever, and I've offered up my name. Hey, my name's Steve Isdahl, and they just blow you off like you're nothing. Didn't even acknowledge that you introduced yourself. And straight to business, like they're not even a regular human being, right? And that can be a little frustrating, upsetting. It's like, get off your pot. When a stand-up good citizen in your community offers up their name and introduces themselves, you be a little cordial, right? But anyway, I don't want to get in that tantrum. It's not a tantrum, but I got to keep going here. The majority of the police officers who replied asked to... I've had a handful of emails shared that they didn't want me to share the email at all, but they did share with me the fact that themselves and many of their co-workers were either A, looking forward to early retirement, many of them were leaving their home state just to get out of there and get away from the insanity, California being one of the more popular ones. Only 1 or 2 police officers replied to me with potential fright, scared of my words, scared of what I'm talking about. As expected, right? But the majority, I think I've had over 20 some odd emails from law enforcement officers. The majority of them are concerned for the people, and they said the time is not right now, but they also mentioned that I copied a couple of emails as allowed to share, so we'll get right to their replies shortly, hopefully. See, this is an example of me not scripting anything or practicing or writing anything down, right? The amount of shit that's in my head daily is a little much. Anyways, what I'm getting at is the majority of the law enforcement swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, protect the people from tyranny, and they said when that tyranny does come down, of course they will protect the people. Basically what it came down to from the majority of the replies, which is great. Other topics I've had numerous doctors email me offering up to discuss with me questions that all you'd be interested in. I thank all those doctors. Absolutely thank you. And yes, I do want to talk to you. Obviously, when I get time, I will get to you. And we will hit that as well. What else? How to reply from the fighter pilot in Afghanistan. Very detailed reply from him. And I appreciate you, man. And I will get to you. I understand you're being hesitant on speaking with me in a live conversation. Totally get it, and we totally don't have to do that, obviously. And will I have time to talk to you personally? Maybe one, hopefully, yes, I will. Just obviously not right now. I have to conserve every second I have today and for the next few days. But just for a note for you guys, there's been a handful of people, of course, it's almost like it's a knee-jerk. As soon as we get somebody who says they're military or ex-military or present military, there's always a handful of people that instantly say, yeah, right, you can tell it's bullshit because of this and this and that. Well, just so you know, the people who barked bullshit on the infrared topic-based email from the pilot in Afghanistan, he shared everything with me. His full name, credentials, his Facebook page, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, it's a very real story, okay? But I have a follow-up email from him I can share with it right now. I think half of it is shareable, the other half is just for me. What else? As you guys know, I dig for information nonstop when I get a chance. Typically when I wake up in the morning, I hit some emails that I can, and I have a pile of people sharing knowledge with me. And then I'll follow up those knowledge leads for as much time as I can forward in the morning when I come across something for you that I feel is very important, and I can't wait, and I can't put it on the Rumble channel because I just haven't had time to make a video for the Rumble channel. It's frustrating to me. As soon as I get that shop done, everything's going to change. Alright? But in the meantime, this camera's set to autofocus. I'm going to show you a screenshot of something that please, if you are a human being who enjoys thinking for yourself and making decisions for yourself and seeking out knowledge, please watch this video right here. Find it and watch it, okay? Let's see if that autofocus works on there. Is that working? Looks like it's working to me. Please, if you enjoy learning for yourself and making decisions for yourself in this lifetime, seek out and watch that video. Alright? And that is one of thousands available today. I posted it on my Facebook this morning. Like Sarah, which I rarely go on Facebook. I have a real tough time supporting that evil little douchebag that owns Facebook. I have a very tough time supporting it. I've had some previous pages on there with literally tens of thousands of current members today, and I haven't been posting for a long time. It's a tough spot to be in for me when I cannot stand tyranny, I cannot stand control freaks, power mongers, and here I am contributing to their success. But meanwhile, I'm leaving all those people behind right there at the same time. It's a tough item to navigate, right? Same with YouTube. It's just a tough thing to navigate for me. I don't even repeat people's names that I do not want to promote. So imagine what it's like for me to post using these dirtbags platforms and promote and supporting them at the same time. It's a tough thing for me to navigate. Getting back to this, watch that video for all you that possibly can't find it. This man has absolute credentials when it comes to nuclear and bioweapons. Has fully investigated the current major world topics going on and the needle that everybody's being coerced into getting. The facts are absolutely alarming. There's no conspiracy theorists going on here, but it's absolutely alarming. And many of you, all of you, please just look into things yourselves, all right? The amount of people out there, people that I consider very intelligent, who just walked right over and got that thing jammed in them, I guarantee you the majority of people don't even have a clue what is in the menu it took to build that shot before they willingly accepted it into their body. I'll guarantee you. How many people do you think went out of their way to thoroughly investigate the full recipe that got basically forced into their body? Now, another note, I'm trying to cover as many things as I can in as short a space of time as I can so I don't rant and kill this whole time we have this morning when I want to get to emails. But I feel like, as usual, I'm running out of time. And it's frustrating for me because I want to tackle every single thing I can. But I got to get going. What was I going to say on that note? Sorry. Yeah. I just really need... Facebook. Facebook has labeled me, when you look up one of my pages, I think it's Progress 66, they have labeled me, this is a person who posts about vaccinations. Like that's a bad thing. right? Getting labeled like it's a bad thing. Unbelievable. On that note, we currently had a huge, it was the global walkout in protest for our human rights and the fact that we own our own bodies, and it was organized by healthcare workers. All right? The Canadian News, which is government owned, immediately counterattacked those healthcare workers and labeled them as conspiracy theorists. They also made mention that no, you don't have to have, there isn't a province in Canada that's mandatory making you take the vaccination. Oh, but they forgot to say the part where you cannot go vote unless you've had it. You're not allowed to enter a building to vote unless you've had a vaccination. You're not allowed to go into restaurants, gyms, various other businesses unless you've had a vaccination. But now they're getting called up by healthcare workers, and literally thousands of people filled the streets of Vancouver, British Columbia in support of that. And they started labeling all those people as congesting traffic and stopping people from making it to emergency in the hospitals. When they actually didn't block streets, they marched to City Hall from the hospital. What I'm getting at is the mainstream media, Canadian News, is owned by the government, all right? And they will do whatever they can to discredit people, good, concerned, honest, qualified people, from informing all of you honestly. That's what they're doing. Look at me, I'm bouncing around about 7 or 8 different topics this morning, aren't I? I hate it when I'm rushed. And especially I'll get 2 coffees in me and then I just go hit it. And I'm shy of time and I can't thoroughly discuss each topic I wish to. I hope what I'm saying right now, a lot of you get something from it that's useful and you follow it up and look into it for yourself, all right? But there is a lot going on. This video, this that I showed you this morning, please watch it. Please watch this one video. And I have got literally hundreds sent to me. I have dozens and dozens of doctors, nurses, healthcare workers emailing me. Currently I have dozens of police officers emailing me. Everybody's emailing me. I love it. Don't stop. If I don't reply to you, don't take it personally. Keep emailing me that knowledge, no matter what. Very important. Alright? Alright, sorry if I'm not making any sense, you guys. Obviously, I get a little frustrated. Like I said, I have so much that I want to share with the people. There's so much I want to talk about. What do we got here? Let's get right into some of these emails. Mark this as read. I grabbed a few last night at around midnight, saved them. Hi Steve, first off, this is called Law Enforcement Answer. Hi Steve, first off, love your channel. I'm a believer I've never had experience in Sasquatch. I'm a retired police officer sergeant in Southern California, 23 years on. I was shot on duty and ultimately had to retire because of that 9 years later. Your story about Australia police is disturbing. Law enforcement in the United States is changing significantly. It used to be about protecting the public, helping people, and arresting the bad guys. That's why we signed up. Today, the new cops are mostly, not all, more about supporting whatever the department supports and staying out of trouble. It's a bad time for cops. We are seen as the enemy, when that's not the case the vast majority of the time. Paul Harvey did a segment titled Policeman a few years back. He is 100% correct in his assessment. Give it a listen. Attached. But today, warriors are being replaced mostly by company men and women looking for a good paycheck and a good pension. Most new cops are yes men to the department, but the good cops still outnumber the bad ones here. Thank God for you guys and gals. I don't personally know one cop who would violate the constitutional rights of anyone just because the government told them to do so, but I'm sure they are out there. I always taught my officers the following: do the right thing. Even if it conflicts with policy or the law, do the right thing, and you'll always be known, and you'll always know what is right and wrong. We all do. It's ingrained in us unless you are a mentally ill or a narcissist. Treat the citizens you serve as if they were your family. My department did not like me telling them to do the right thing, even when it was against policy or law. And that's why I took advantage of my injury and got out early. We just didn't see eye to eye anymore. When I was working, and as it is now, the right thing almost always fall in line with policy and law. Almost always. For example, you stop a drunk driver and learn he has recently lost his wife to cancer. Police says to arrest. That guy doesn't need that. He needs a responsible friend or family member who you can trust with his car keys and a ride home. You have to trust your gut as a cop and do what's right. When that changes, when all cops become robots and just do what they're told by a corrupt state, if it changes, and it will, if the deep state liberals continue to push us towards socialism and communism, that is the time for everyone, not just law enforcement, to say, no, we're not doing it this way. What happened in Australia is not happening here yet, the vast majority of the time. If you believe the news is rampant, it's not. Cops being accused makes the news. Convicted cops makes the news. Cops found innocent do not. But it might appear here someday. That is the time to say no. And I'm telling you the truth when I say we are not there yet. And most cops, 99% according to Mr. Harvey, are still here to protect and serve our public. If you use this, call me by my nickname, Cujo. Cujo, absolutely appreciate your email. I'm glad I shared it. And if you want to follow up with more knowledge for the people one day, please do so. If, let's just say, things do get worse, please stay in touch so you can help guide the people into what to do and possibly organize. I know that's a far-fetched statement, but you never know, right? Well, please stay in touch, and the world needs more people like you out there, all right? Now, we have a follow-up, partial follow-up, Afghan follow-up it's called, from our man in Afghanistan who filmed that big thing running up the mountain, digging in the field. Steve, holy cow, this email really took off. I wasn't expecting that. I'd like to provide you some amplifying information for you to explain who I am and that it matters. It's broken into two parts. Second part I'd like you to keep between us. The first part is okay to share because it provides some amplifying data for some of the questions I've seen in the comments section. Just like you, I'd like to know more about what I saw that night. Alright, part one, shareable if you want. Of course I'm going to share it. Anybody puts the word share, it's getting shared. Quote, orbit, end quote. Just means flying a big circle in the sky, no big deal. Okay, good. Thought maybe you might be in one of those secret UFOs. Just kidding. The IR spot, or footprint on the ground, isn't a pinpoint thing like you see coming from a soldier's rifle. It's huge, powerful, and depends on the slant range it's firing from. It actually appears on the ground, to someone with night vision, as a large, slowly rotating, as I fly around the orbit, rectangle. It was something around 6 foot by 10 foot in size at the time I fired on that thing. When somebody on the ground with night vision gets hit with the IR pointer, it appears like an instant rave nightclub. You're bathed in it and it flashes. So under NVGs, it's almost blinding. NVGs, that's going to be night vision goggles. And it's all around you. For this reason, I don't think it somehow sensed it. It was probably bewildered by the overwhelming visual stimulus surrounding it. I also don't think it heard us. My wingman was nowhere near it. I was southwest of it, at 5 miles range and approximately 8,000 to 9,000 feet above it. Plus, the winds were light out of the east. I was far away, up high and downwind. Trust me, we tried to rationalize the incident via sound as well. 5 miles away. 5 miles away, in today's technology you can tell whether or not a being is wearing clothing and approximately how wide it is. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that freaking amazing? And to think that with that sort of technology today, that the bad guys in Afghanistan or other countries weren't absolutely obliterated off of the face of the planet. That's a tough one to take in and try to understand and make sense of, is it not? With that kind of technology. Crazy. Obviously, people were held back in that conflict. Unreal. Very interesting to me. IR doesn't necessarily mean MID and FARIR bands like how the Predator sees in the movie. MID, I don't know what that means. My pod constantly and passively sees in near, mid, and far IR. So yeah, my screen is truly seeing heat vision, represented by shades of black and white. This being appeared bright white, hot, in a field of black snow, cold. Sometimes counterintuitive, I know. However, the IR pointer is the near IR band. It exists there because it's intended to be seen by NVGs. NBGs see in the visual spectrum and slightly into the near IR. When you fire an IR pointer from a jet, you can actually see the beam coming from your jet all the way to the spot on the ground. If you're in the other jet, you only see the spot on the ground. If you're on the ground with NBGs, you typically only see the spot on the ground, but can, if conditions are right, ride the beam all the way back to its origin. After my incident and combined with several of the stories you've shared, I'm convinced these things can see the near IR. Key things about near IR: it doesn't require cold supercooling to sense. NBGs don't have coolers or a hypersensitive detector. It allows greater acuity at night and in occluded conditions, smoke/fog/haze. It can also differentiate water molecule density and can therefore determine vegetation life. The satellite images depicting vegetation growth use near IR to show this via shades of red. Darker red equals more vegetation. There's plenty of studies regarding near IR's ability to show a star's age based on its molecular vibration. And there's all kinds of research on near IR replacing a traditional MRI in hospitals. In short, I'm not convinced that these beings are seeing a simple beam coming from trail cams. There's probably something else, but I am convinced it's something related to the near IR band. Think about a cold, hard plastic and metal object strapped to a living tree, and you're able to see how live the vegetation is. It wouldn't matter what it emitted or how pretty its real tree paint job is. It's a dead spot amongst life. Awesome. Interesting point. The other component is the laser. I had my pod set to emit both the IR pointer and the laser. Could it have been the laser it sensed instead of the IR? Maybe. I can't eliminate that as a possibility. As far as not saving the tapes are digital recordings and contain lots of classified information. I couldn't simply take a copy of it without a rigorous declassification process. Plus, we were in the middle of a war. There was more important stuff that needed to get recorded. No offense, but it's true. Nobody directed me to delete it either. It was just an oddity at the time. We did save the clip on a classified network in the weird shit folder, along with dudes humping goats and dogs tearing each other apart. But who knows where that ended up. Maybe the Taliban has it now. I have no idea why it was digging. A better explanation of the motion is someone at the beach. It looked exactly like he would start digging a big hole in the beach sand with a shovel. Legs spread, bent over, both arms scooping sand backwards between your legs. I am fascinated by the stories of people getting the feelings of dread when near one of these beings. In my case, there was none of that. Maybe it was due to the distance at which I was viewing it, or because my jet was clearly the big dog in that fight. The Afghan. I have no way of verifying what he told me. It was the first time I'd ever heard about the Barmanu and haven't heard about it from anyone else. The internet has little information on the subject. Everyone keeps mentioning the Kandahar giant story. I haven't found a single person to verify that story, that story is even remotely legit, and would prefer to distance my experience from that nonsense. To end it, I'm convinced the answer is near IR, but not convinced it's actually the beam they're seeing. I'm still hoping some vets can pipe in with their experience over there. Afghanistan is a spectacularly strange place, and if these things can scratch out a living in Ohio, they can damn sure do that in the Hindu Kush. End of shareable content, please. And I went on for part 2 for me, which I absolutely appreciate. You don't understand how much I appreciate that email and actually everybody else's emails. Love it. Gosh, I can't wait to get my damn shop done. But now I'm at the stage I can't do the walls yet because I got to get the electrician in, and building is going off not too far away from where I live, so it's tough to get the electrician in, but that stops everything dead because I got to get him in to wire up all the walls and get the plug-in connections going, all the proper lights before I can start putting all that board and batten on the walls, or boards, no battens. And then I get hard wire internet to that shop, and I'm not going, well, I will be going to places all over the place no matter what, but at least then we can really get some time put in to share, right, and hear people out. All people do deserve to be heard. But anyway, babbling away here. I seem to get more panicky when the time's really ticking and I have things to do instead of slowing down and thoroughly delivering on each topic I bring up here on this camera. But anyways, sir, to you, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be in touch soon. I just can't say when yet. The time's coming though, alright? And I don't expect you to become out public. I appreciate everything you've done, who you are, the current position you're in, and the circles of people you obviously are associated with, and I totally get it, alright? But if you come up with any information, more information for us, get it over here and get it into me so I can get it out, and vice versa. If you have heard this man of military and you're a veteran from Afghanistan and you've seen some crazy shit, make sure you get it into us, alright? Obviously it's harmless. If you want to keep your identity hidden, obviously it keeps hidden here. Whatever you request, you get it, alright? Respect is the #1 factor here. Now what do we got? Oh, alright, here's one titled Afghanistan. Okay, Steve, let me start by saying I love your stories. Stumbled across the YouTube channel while checking out bear stories on my lunch break. I'm an avid hunter and fly fisherman, so your content is right up my alley. Now to the good stuff. I've never had an encounter with Bigfoot, or I can even say I would like to have one here in the States. But I did have a very strange and unusual story of something we saw in Afghanistan. In 2009, I was part of a small unit leading into the southernmost part of Helmand province in Afghanistan. Our primary mission was to curtail the flow of weapons coming across the border from Pakistan. To accomplish this mission, we had some DEA guys with us as we were attempting to slow the heroin flow from Afghanistan into Pakistan. It's kind of funny, eh? Because obviously there's a whole pile of people out there. We always hear the stories of American soldiers who were actually guarding poppy fields over there, right? I also hear rumors of American soldiers or international soldiers are actually seen guarding the heroin. Conspiracy theories, right? The Taliban would use the profits from the heroin sales to purchase millions of dollars of munitions in Pakistan to fight the coalition in Afghanistan. You get the point. Anyway, we were on day 7 of a patrol outside the wire looking for some bad guys in an area near the Helmand River. There are lots of caves in that area and ruins dating back forever. Just an incredible, extremely wild place. One August evening, a buddy and myself were on watch, just shooting the shit, talking about what our first meal will be when we get back to the States. I look up on the side of a cliff face and see movement coming from my left to my right, downhill towards the river basin. I pull up my rifle and look through the ACOG and see a red-haired large figure headed down towards a group of goats. By this time, my buddy also has his rifle shouldered and is seeing the same thing I'm seeing. It was the color of an orangutan, but it was moving on 2 legs extremely quickly. It probably covered 100 meters in around 9 or 10 seconds, and we're talking across some pretty rough country. It was also larger than a man, though I really couldn't tell you how large. It seemed as if the goats were aware of his presence, but did not make an attempt to move away. They all just stood there in silence, staring at the thing coming down the embankment. When he reached the goats, he reached down with one arm and pulled one up by its front legs and threw it over his shoulder. Then moved to another goat, picked that one up, and threw it over the other shoulder. He then turned to start back up the cliffside with both goats in tow and seemed to be moving just as quickly as he was when he came down. The extra weight of the 50-pound goats on each shoulder not seeming to hinder him in the least. We watched him until he reached an area of known caves and disappeared. This all happened about 500 yards from our position. My buddy and I looked at each other, and you could tell we were thinking the same thing. What the hell was that? At the end of the deployment, I went in and talked to one of the environmental health guys and told him the story. Those guys are supposed to be experts on all the critters and such you may encounter when you're in the country, but he seemed to not have an answer for me. Anyway, to this day I still have no idea what that thing was. This certainly was not a man. Thanks, Steve. Stay safe out there. Rex. Rex, absolutely appreciate it. Please stay in touch with all your circle of friends, associates that you were with over there. And please speak openly about this topic, all right? Because the only way you get feedback and knowledge is by speaking openly about it. Nobody just offers it up on average. So it'd be super awesome if you could do that. And if you come across any more good knowledge that people can utilize, please seek it out, find it, and send it to me, and I'll get it out to the people, all right? And as far as those goats standing there frozen, coincidence, huh? How many times have people said they were frozen in place and couldn't move? Possible connection there? I think so. What an amazing thing to observe. Crazy. One more here. A police officer responds to your question for police. Here's another one. Steve, brother, you don't know how many police officers watch your videos. I think I got a good idea. There's a lot. Out of 7, well, what, 4 million views a month on this one channel? There's probably a few in there, but that's for sure. Your comments are bang on. There's a group of active and retired officers fighting to expose the hypocrisy and unlawful orders. Please look into Police on Guard for Thee. We are a group that agree with your position and could use the support you can bring. Terry Bray, W-R-A-Y, Detective 3794, was that detachment? Detective probably? Toronto Police Service. Thank you so much for that. Of course I'm going to blast your name out in support. Are you kidding me? We're all in this round ball together, man. Anything else you need from me or others, you let me know. You got it. All right? Thank you so much for what you guys are doing. Thank God. There's another one. Doctors. Hi, I heard you were looking for a doctor to chat with. Let me know. Love your channel. Dr. Jamie Gallant, ND. Jamie, I'm all over it. As soon as we get a chance, I will contact you and all the other ones. Without a doubt. You see how this works, right, you guys? I told you guys flat out. I copy and paste the emails into the folder and I read them to you. I don't pre-read. Sometimes I try to, after I've only had a volley of a pile of emails that didn't make sense, and it frustrates me because I can't stand reading and then deleting, which I haven't done yet, so this is a good day today for sharing. Thanks again for sending that email, and I will take up your invite as soon as I can. Maybe we'll have a bunch of you at the same time. Bigfoot encounters in North Carolina, Alaska. Hi Steve, I'm James and I got some stories. I've been living in Talkeetna, Alaska since 8/9/2021, which is 60 miles from Denali, tallest mountain in North America. I went on a river hike with my roommate who also watches your videos. The valley in Matanuska, Susitna, Borough, Alaska, south of Talkeetna. I saw a gigantic footprint in the mud a couple days after I got there. In December 2018, my sister used to live in Anderson Creek, Harnett County, North Carolina, which is a county south of Raleigh. Her backyard led into the beautiful leaf-covered forest ground, so you would always hear a crunch while walking in there. Sometimes I would stargaze at night, but one time I was hearing crunching, furious human-like footsteps in the forest coming towards me. I took off back inside and locked the door. That's all the stories I got. God bless. James, thanks for that, man. Talkeetna. I'm familiar with Talkeetna. I was with a guide. Oh, what was his name? I was with a guide on Kodiak that lived in Talkeetna. You probably know who he is. And I apologize for forgetting his name. Shit. So many people. It's tough when you meet frickin' thousands of people a year. What do we got? One more here. Steve. Okay, hold on. Steve, your sixth sense, September 1st and 2nd. Hello, Steve. You have mentioned desire to have the ability to instill fear and terror on those people who do evil. While that may be useful at times, it would seem to be secondary to the sixth sense you do already have. There is a marked difference between your videos of September 1st and 2nd. During September 1st, you often checked your 6 o'clock and your 9 o'clock positions instinctively. Something was obviously alerting you multiple times. On September 2nd, you only checked your 6 o'clock one time instinctively. Man communicates himself through facial expression, words, and body language. That puts all of us as men on the same footing. It allows us to be equals as we move and work around each other. It should be my right to know which human being around me is projecting ill will toward me, if that projection is meant to cause me fear or terror. If men have some secret ability to project fear and terror into others, we would have no way to determine who opposes us, or for what reason. Considering the debilitating effect this projection has had on a number of people from one exposure, it would seem that multiple exposures to this projection could cause a horrendous and significant outcome in the person's life, far beyond not wanting to go into the woods again. I find it more useful to have what is called spidey senses, or ESP, at work than projection. These are like early warning devices to guide the thoughts and actions. You have shown the use of these attributes in a number of your videos, but none is marked and noticeable as on the dates mentioned, both at the same location. As you implied, if someone hides in a crowd and slanders another person, they are a coward. The same can be said of terrorizing someone. With men, we understand what we see and hear from other men because we have the same inside nature. We are built the same way. With Sasquatch and man, it is more like a horse to a mule, or a mule to a hinny, as you, a horse person, will understand the difference. Thanks for what you do. All the best to you, Gary Reed. Gary, absolutely appreciate your take on that and your view on that, and coming at it from that angle. Absolutely appreciate and understand exactly what you're sharing. And in the future, like I say to everybody, man, you come across something else you want to share, you get it in here and get it shared, all right? And I totally understand what you mean about the other day. Yeah, I couldn't stop looking, right? Couldn't stop looking. I'm in the same place. I haven't heard one kersplush. I swam in the river, upriver, another 500 yards, and there was a fairly fresh school of sockeye and a couple coho salmon in there. I left a camera on the bottom of the river for them, and that's on the other channel right now. Some of that content, I think. But anyway, yeah, I totally agree, man. I mean, cowards do hide in the dark. Cowards do attack from concealed positions. And, you know, I do have more of a sense of humor than I don't. Believe it or not, everyday regular life is filled with non-stop clowning and joking around, believe me, to the max. But you just got to take it with it. It's just a drop of water, man. When I make that, but then again, in reality, how else could you get near those dirty pricks? They're surrounded, right? They're inaccessible, unfortunately. But anyway, the Rumble channel, what I do have to do on a side note, some of you might be frustrated with some of the topics I tackle, but like I said earlier, if you just stay tunnel vision focused on Bigfoot Sasquatch, you're probably missing a whole big, obvious part of that picture. Why? Because, like I've said dozens of times, this topic is one of the easier ones to deliver to all of you to prove that we are not being honestly informed. All right? And you think that's only one topic? The more your brain looks into it and asks the whys, the more you come up with, and then you start going, holy shit. And the more you learn, the more you want to share with all of you. And that's why we keep consistently going off in different directions as we share these videos with such a massive audience, right? Oh my god, I can't wait to get that room done in the shop. It's getting to the point now. Yeah, anyway, babbling away. Anyway, let me show you that photograph of that video. I would please urge all and any people who enjoy to think for themselves and make decisions for themselves and be fully informed. This is a real good one that I've watched as of late. Please, you got time. Should get in focus here. Here's the focus, I think. Find that video and listen to that man. All right? All right. Now I'm going to go have a look around here. If I got time, I will create another video share that will automatically share with all of you guys while I'm gone trying to win the $10,000. Be safe out there.